Hey everyone, it's Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding, and this episode we're going to be putting the side superstructure parts onto the ship. We put windows in there, we put some, slats in the windows to make it look like they're, I can't even think of the word that you say for them, but the little lines that go in windows. So we put them in, and the Lexan to kind of go over them. Then we get the decks on, and we have this interior part of the ship that isn't actually a deck. You don't actually see it, but you need to have it in there to make all of the other decks kind of land on it. And that was a little bit complex because it was kind of weirdly done how it fits. But we get that in, and then at the end I even have the funnels on. So thank you very much for watching, and let's get started. Okay, so my lighting came. This is actually the same that I'm using for Bismarck too, so I'm pretty excited that this has got here. But there's enough to do what I need to do here. So this is not going to be an overly complex lighting setup. I'm going to just run the hull, and I'm going to run a T off to do 2 navigational lights, and then I may do a couple lights up on the funnel and the radar tower, but nothing extreme in this. So I'm going to just basically run a set of wires here into the stand, and that's going to come down on this stand like through the center here. I'll end up painting these, and then these will get glued onto a piece of real wood once I get around to doing that part of it. But that'll work for our lighting. Nothing too complex. Like I said, just want to do something with it. Now, this here, these are our side hull panels, and if you notice, they don't have the slats that should be in it for the windows. So I'm going to use a piece of fabric mesh and cut it basically so that it gets basically so that it fits in here. From the inside it'll look like that basically, and that's only for the larger windows here, not these lower ones. So these will just get covered with some acetate. So that's what I'm going to start working on now. I'll show this a little bit once I start doing it. I'm not going to show a whole lot with the wiring, just because I've done that about a dozen times in different videos for different series. So I'm just going to work on kind of putting them together and getting them ready, and then we'll come back and show you where we're at. So I'll be right back. Okay, so the lighting is wired. I have this coming down through the bottom there. Not too worried, obviously, about needing to hide too many wires. There really isn't that many, so this won't be too bad at all. And like I said, I have that line here coming off that I can use then for other lighting if I decide to do it, which I will. I know I will. But anyway, just set it up to my tester here, and you'll be able to see it light up. And there we go. So we got lighting. So that's good. Alright, so I'm going to next go into beginning to put some decking down. So basically our bow goes on, followed by our side panels. So I am going to have to put my windows in before I go too far with this, because I think this actually is going to need to go on prior to anything else really going on. Otherwise, no, it can't, because this is going to have to go on, and the bridge is going to have to go on, and I still got to paint the bridge. So I'm going to paint that up while that's drying. I'm going to start doing these windows. So let me pause it, and we'll start doing these windows, and I'll be right back. All right, so to cut this, obviously it's just fabric, but the line, like the boat, or not the boat, the pane lines for the windows are kind of like diagonal. If I don't cut this right. So I need these to go basically like this. And on the camera you probably can't see what I'm talking about, but in person they would be slanted if I didn't do this. So I'm gonna have to cut these with a little bit of intention to make sure that it ends up landing how I need it to. So you'll probably be able to understand now. So if I didn't cut it with that diagonal, the windows would end up being a diagonal window, and I don't want that. So I want them to be kind of straight up and down like this, and I'm going to glue it from the inside and then put acetate behind it so that it'll have, you know, shiny glass type look. So I need some glue. And a toothpick. And we're just going to basically drop some glue onto the uprights of the windows here. And then I can simply drop this down on it. And I need to trim that just a little because it will be too long if I don't. Come on. These are kind of a pain to deal with. I've used this stuff before when I was building Constitution. I used it for some railing where the sleeping bags are kept, or sleeping cots, whatever you want to call them, and it is a bit finicky, but I mean, obviously it's not meant to do what I'm doing with it, so there's that. I gotta open the new one. But there you go. I need to push that last one on a little bit further here. But it should give us the effect that we're going for here. Yeah, I think that's pretty convincing, all in all. So I'll take that. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut the next set, and we'll get them installed, and then we'll get our windows on. So let me go ahead and start cutting this, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got the windows in, and you can see them kind of shine there, and the slats are there, so I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, gives it the effect that I was going for. So there we go. Next up, I got to do the other side. Then we're going to glue these onto the side of the hall and get ready to put some decking on. Okay, so before I put the rear deck down, I got both of the sides done and they're ready to go. But before I put the rear deck, the poop deck or fantail, whatever we want to call it here, I am going to put some lighting in on that so that it kind of illuminates the pool. No sense in putting all that effort into it if you can't see it at all, right? So I'm going to put them right next to the skylight, and these are, they're decently bright. They're not crazy bright, but they'll get what I need it to do done. And kind of illuminate the blue in there in the water, so you'll be able to see it from behind. So we're going to put these on quick, and I do have to double check if these need a resistor on them or not. I do think they do, so I'll have to put a resistor on, which isn't a big deal. I'm just thinking out loud right now in my head whether they need them or not. Most of them do, but and I can actually just test that real quick with a resistor that I have here. We'll see what happens here. And if it needs it, obviously it'll run perfectly fine. If it doesn't need it, it'll be probably overly dim. So we'll know in 1 second. Positive. They are brighter than I thought they were, but these are the same ones that I'm going to use to illuminate the funnels too, I do believe. Yeah, okay, good. So yes, we do need the resistor, and yeah, I'm going to get those wired up and get them put on. And now that they are set here, I can take the deck here where the pull is and just run some glue here along the bottom, and we'll get that set. And this should be perfectly well aligned, that I shouldn't have any problems with it lining up with the hull. So you can see there, it's about the right space for the deck. And that will just go and fit right on here. And yes, it drops right down in between the hull. I might need to trim just a tiny bit on that edge, it looks like. So do that real fast. I did, I did have some, not concern, but I was estimating the size that it needed to be, so I'm not that surprised that it's not perfect. I don't remember having that much trouble cutting them before. Jeez. Okay, but yes, now we fit down there pretty perfect. So, good deal. So now I'll be able to go ahead and get this glued down in a minute. And then we still will have our joint line that's going to need some work here, basically where this comes together here, like that. This is the front, where it comes together like that, because I don't want that ugly joint there, but we'll figure that out once we get it kind of connected. So I'm going to pause this, get this glued down. I'm going to get the wires connected for this so we have our lighting set, and I will be right back. So I went ahead and I coated the bottom of my decks with aluminum foil tape. When I went and lit this up, it was really getting a lot of light bleed. So it didn't get it 100%, but it did do a pretty good job with it. So now I just have a little bit around the dome there, and I can live with that. So it looks a lot better now than what it did, but there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and get the decks glued down and continue on. Okay, so I got the side hull plate on, and something I learned on this, it doesn't fit real well. You have to cut. So essentially, the back is about 1/8 of an inch too long. So what I've done on the other side anyway, I cut the tab here a little bit short, and then you need to lose about 1/8 of an inch. And this isn't just because I modified it and added the lower deck there. It literally is just too long. So unfortunately, they had a mismeasurement and it would appear. So once you do that, then it pretty much falls perfectly into place. But otherwise, it was not fitting. Like, there was no way. So yeah, now it pretty much is there, and I can go ahead and do some gluing. And what I basically did was come along the center here just to get it set, and then I hit the rest of it with model glue, so that I would get a good adhesion, basically. I'm gonna have to touch up paint the white right there because I accidentally just dumped my finger right into it. Oh, and oh boy, I'm gonna have to sand that all down. So I'm gonna have to repaint my black. Oh, that stinks. But anyway, I'm gonna get this glued on and sulk over my my mistake I just made, and then I'll repair it, and then we'll be good to go. I can't believe I did that. Very frustrated. But I've done worse, so it is what it is. Part of modeling. Alright, so we get that on. I'm going to glue the side there, like I said. Let me see how the bridge lines up, because that's going to be another area. I knew I was going to have to do some repaint anyhow, because I have to get the white to not have seam lines, so I guess I can't be too disappointed right now. It just is what it is. Okay, that fits perfect there. It doesn't fit perfect on this side without some persuasion. Not too bad though. So it's going to need a little bit of work there on that seam. And I got to put windows in it yet and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, right there I'm going to have to do some blending. Alright, so that's pretty much where we're at with that. So I'm going to work on sanding that back down and fixing it. I'm so annoyed with myself. And then we'll be back. Okay, so I have this side getting resprayed right now. And while I'm doing that, since I have the black out, I figured now was good as time as any to do the tops of the funnels. Unfortunately, they're going to take some work. There's some casting divots in them that need to be smoothed out, basically. So I'm going to do that, and I think I'm going to try to cover in that seam also, or get it somewhat close. So I may not be able to spray these now after all, but at least I have them started. Alright, so I'm going to do the other one quick, and then I'll pause it, and we'll pick back up afterward. We're nowhere near putting the funnels on, but I just wanted to at least get these kind of cleaned up beforehand. And like I said, since I was dealing with the black paint, it seemed like a good time to do it, but it's not really going to be, so it is what it is. But they're gonna have to dry, and then I can sand them and get them reshaped, and we'll be good. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show that, thinking I was gonna be able to do it, but no. So let me pause it, and we'll be back. Okay, so we got the bridge on. I corrected over here what was bad, and I got to do a little bit more over here to correct that, but we're moving right along. So next up, I am going to go ahead and begin to put the upper deck in. So this is basically this piece here. I guess this wouldn't be considered the upper deck, but the part that basically supports the structure, I guess, for the upper end. And I'm just trying to figure out how exactly this actually lands on here, because it's a little bizarre, honestly. I think it goes like that, which kind of would make sense now that I have it in or on. Just looking at the direction pictures a minute. So it's a very weird setup. It almost looks like this is upside down, which I think it is. Now I'm looking more. But it's not making a heck of a lot of sense. So that should be there. It's a weird setup here. Well, it's showing that it goes the other way, so I was right the first time. So yeah, it goes like this. Sorry for all of the back and forth with it. I just want to make sure that when I set it, I get it right here. Gotta cut off these little pieces here. Now what's bizarre is that it's pushing down that part, so it really should be like that. Basically like that. I don't even understand the gluing points on this. This is just bizarre, to say the least. So very strange. I'm gonna grab the upper deck a minute, because these then go here. This has to be a misprint. It absolutely does not make sense why it would not go like this, because that deck isn't gonna fit on there if it's the other way. So I'm gonna kind of play with this for a few minutes and see what I can figure out, because aside from right here, you don't even see any of this piece, and I don't understand the whole point of it. Yeah, let me look at the directions here a little bit more and I'll be back. Okay, so now I understand it. So it actually has a little lip down inside here that it has to kind of snap under, and it goes underneath this. So that's why nothing was making sense to me. And once you get it in there, now it lines up pretty solidly, and that gives the walkway down inside there, basically, that would be in that deck. So now I feel better, because it really was not making sense. But yeah, we got it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this glued in. I did think about maybe putting a piece of deck along there. I just don't even know if you'd see it. You might see it. So I guess it wouldn't hurt. Oops. I have, oh boy. I'm batting 1,000 in this video today. Good Lord. So, all this because I decided to put a fence in. Not a fence, oh, Jesus. Decking in. And I gotta go back on this with some model glue, but that's okay. So I'm gonna get this glued back in, and then we'll come back and we'll continue. But there you can see that rail down there, and that's what this needs to sit into. So I'm gonna put deck on this, and go ahead and correct this piece here, and then get this glued in, and we'll come back and put these on, and probably the upper deck, I'm thinking, maybe. So yeah, we'll check that out and I'll be back. Okay, so this is in nice and solid and tight and looking good, and that's there. And I did go ahead and put the decking down there, and you can't actually see it at all, but oh well, I know it's there, I guess. So now these decks can essentially be put onto here, and then we'll be able to start putting our lifeboat davits on, because that's what it calls for. However, I think I'm going to do that secondary and put the main deck up, and then do my lifeboats. I just think that's how I want to roll with it. I'm just trying to get an idea here of what it looks like, and yeah, I feel pretty good with that. I did go ahead and paint the funnels, so they are ready to go. And they basically have this weird thing that goes down inside here, and then you rotate it. We're going to forgo this because it's actually quite bizarre and not needed. But yeah, they will basically then sit right up in here. I gotta clear coat them first. They're not cleared yet, but they came out nice. I'm quite happy with them. So what we'll do, like I said, is go ahead and put that fencing down, and not the fence. I keep saying fencing. I don't even know what I'm talking about, because I'm not even talking about fencing or railing or anything. Very strange. I must have fencing in my head for some reason. But I am using CA on this section here, mainly because they have a bow to them, and I need it to be able to dry fairly quick so that it straightens out. And we don't have any bowing going on the actual deck, because I really don't want that. Okay, so that one's on. And I'm going to do the same thing over here with the other one and get that on. I did consider filling in the holes where the lifeboat davits go, but I decided not to, just because one, they would give me the right location to go with them, and the printed ones that I did will cover them perfectly fine. So this is what they look like, and they're painted up already. I might hit them with one more coat before I go and actually start painting, or I mean setting, which is another reason why I want to put the upper deck on, so they have some time to cure and dry up before we move on to that. I am really liking, though, overall how this build is turning out. It's going to be a really nice looking ship to display, so I'm pretty happy with it, honestly. For as much, not complaining, but opinionation, I guess you'd say, that I gave in the beginning here, the kit itself, or the model itself, is a pretty nice ship, and it will it will look good once this is all together. Come on. Yeah. So when I get the railings on, I'll be real happy with that. Yeah, I'm liking it. So, now we're going to check this out. Now that has a little bit of concern for me, that it needs to get closer here, so those tabs, there's little tabs that sit here, and this needs to fit down on top of it. So before I put that together, I'm going to go ahead and put my private, or not private, but my, I guess it's private promenade, or whatever we want to call this. Okay. So this has to go and get fitted right up to the bridge up here, and hoping that sinks, yeah, it does, it sinks down right. So we need to pull these essentially over like that. Okay, that actually wasn't too bad. well, until it popped out. This is quite warped too. I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but there's a warpage going on with it. So it kind of is what it is, but I'll make it stick. So I'm going to work on this, but I'm going to do it off camera because I know it's going to take some maneuvering to make this kind of sit how it needs to, and it probably will take some time. So I'm going to pause it and come back. Okay, so the funnels are both painted and cleared, so I'm going to go ahead and get them installed on, and I think I'm pretty much going to wrap up the video and then hear from this point for this episode. So next episode we'll end up putting our rafts on, which go here and around here. We might put our sign on. There's a cargo hatch that goes here, but I thought about doing the lifeboats, but I really want to do the railings before I really get into lifeboats, so that might be a little bit down the road yet. I just want to, I'm trying to go from the center out, I think, just to keep it easier to work on as I'm going here. So I'm going to check on, I gotta look at a picture here and see where exactly these boats, or not boats, these funnels should kind of line up. There might be a picture, actually, that's not a good picture. They look about right there. So I'm gonna check that before I go ahead and set these permanently, and then I'll be back. Or no, I guess I'm gonna end the video. I won't be back. So thank you very much for watching. Please tune in next time, and we'll continue here with LC Model Shipbuilding.